Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to Children's Church. We've been talking about 2 Peter 1:5, and this week we are working on, and to your knowledge, add self-control. I feel like that's like the least fun fruit of the Spirit, but we all need it. So today we're talking about Daniel, and normally we talk about Daniel, he's in a lion's den. He's not in a lion's den this time, at least not physically. So Daniel was taken from his homeland of Israel and brought to another kingdom. And they changed his name to Balthazar, and we're not going to call him that. His name is Daniel. So Daniel and the other Israelite boys were brought to the king's house. They were somewhere between like a hostage and a guest. Not the worst place he could be, but not home either. And they sat them at the king's table and said, "You have to eat like us." The problem is that the foods that were on the king's table were things that God had told the Israelites were unclean, things they weren't supposed to eat. So Daniel said, "I can't do that." No matter how good it looked, no matter how good it smelled, Daniel said, "I can't do that." And they said, "You have to if you're going to be in the king's house." He said, I'll make you a deal. For 21 days, let us eat like we're supposed to eat. Let us eat fruits and vegetables and grains, and stay away from what you're doing, all the meats and the sugary things, and we'll see who's stronger. Now, I don't know if I could have done that. I've done a Daniel fast, because that's what we call it, where you don't eat any of that stuff for 21 days. And it's really hard, guys. I mean, by like day 14, I wanted a pizza so bad. But Daniel, being in a king's house, I can't even imagine the kind of food that were in a king's house in a massive empire, didn't do it. At every turn, Daniel showed self-control. He didn't shout when he said, "No, I can't eat that." And he didn't give in no matter how many times it was offered to him, even when everyone else was joining in. But he had self-control, and he listened to what he knew he was supposed to do. See, to his knowledge, he added self-control. He knew what was right in God's eyes, and he had the self-control to do it, even when he was being told to do something else. And at the end of those 21 days, Daniel and the other Israelites were stronger. They were better than those who were eating from the king's table in the usual way, because God blessed them for what they were doing. And also maybe the king's food probably wasn't very good for them. Who knows? The Bible doesn't really describe what was on the table of the night. There were lots of meats and things, and it was stuff that God said was unclean. So Daniel and the other Israelites were allowed to eat the things they knew they were supposed to and ignore what everyone else was doing, thanks to Daniel's self-control, both in the argument he made when he was talking to the people who were in charge and in what he was doing. He added self-control to the knowledge he had of what he was supposed to do. And we know that later on, Daniel also had self-control when he was told to pray before another god on pain of death. And Daniel said, "I can't do it. I have to do what I'm supposed to do," even though no one else was. So Daniel had self-control all through his stories. There's a whole book about them. It's in the prophets. We will be back next week with still in 2 Peter 1:5 through 7. And I will see you guys then. Bye.